Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience in holding. We now have your presenters in conference. Please be aware that each of your lines is in a listen-only mode. At any time throughout today's presentation, you may submit your questions electronically by using the Ask a Question box located on the left of your webinar. If at any time these slides are not advancing or appear behind the presenter's presentation, please log out and log back in to correct the issue. It is now my pleasure to introduce today's first presenter, AHA moderator Felicia Bloom.
Thank you, David. Welcome, everyone, to Gold Stars in the Workplace, How Recognition Affects Engagement, featuring a case study about Norton Healthcare. My name is Felicia Bloom, and I'm your moderator today. Today's webinar focuses on how recognition positively impacts employee engagement and why recognition in a hospital or healthcare organization is so important. In this program, you'll hear from Dave Miller, Senior Consultant, Avatar Solutions, and Angela Jette, Program Coordinator, Employee Experience, Norton Healthcare in Louisville, Kentucky. If you'd like a replay of this presentation, you can easily request it and other items discussed in today's program in the evaluation, which will be emailed to you in the next 2 hours. Your input is important to us, and it will be used to bring you valuable programming in the future. We do hope you will complete the brief evaluation. If you have a question at any time during the presentation, please type it in the Q&A section on the lower left corner of your screen where it says Q&A. This program has been produced by AHA Solutions, a division of the American Hospital Association. AHA Solutions is focused on improving the performance of our nation's hospitals. We co-founded the National Healthcare Career Network and the AHA Career Center to address critical staffing issues and connect healthcare employers with highly qualified candidates. We actively seek to understand the pressing hospital operational issues and research high-value products and services and award an exclusive AHA endorsement to address these critical challenges. Educational programs like this are designed to discuss the challenges facing healthcare organizations and the solutions available to them. This educational event has been developed by AHA Solutions together with Avatar Solutions and Norton Healthcare. Avatar Solutions has been awarded the exclusive endorsement of the American Hospital Association for their healthcare survey tools. We thank Norton Healthcare and Avatar Solutions for their willingness to share their expertise. Angela Jette joined Norton Healthcare in 2009. While she originally used her patient and customer experience to serve Norton Healthcare as their service excellence manager, Angela transitioned to the employee experience team in 2012, harnessing those same skills, focusing on recognition initiatives and employee feedback. Dave Miller is a senior consultant for Avatar Solutions and specializes in talent management, data analysis, and communication engagements. He is in charge of administering surveys, facilitating employee feedback sessions, and providing senior leadership with results-oriented advisory services. In his time at Avatar Solutions, Dave has facilitated roughly 300 employee feedback and training sessions, as well as nearly 100 action planning sessions. Further, he has conducted research to validate and confirm Avatar Solutions' historical data and survey instruments and crafted numerous final reports to succinctly explain the findings of employee data and provide action items for improvement. Without further ado, I'd like everyone to hear about recognition in the workplace and how it impacts engagement, featuring the Norton Healthcare story. Welcome, Dave and Angela. Dave?
Alrighty, well, thank you, Felicia, for the warm introduction. As mentioned, there's really going to be two areas that we cover, recognition and employee engagement. So I'm going to start off just talking and providing you with a operational definition of employee engagement, some trending that we see in our database on recognition and the importance of recognition and how that impacts employee engagement. From there, I'll hand it over to Angela, where she'll get into some of the best practices specific to Norton. But I always like to start off by using a few photos to illustrate the importance of employee engagement. So the first one here, I don't know if you know this gentleman or you've seen him on TV on a commercial, but his name is Igor. He plays a character on a commercial for a credit card company, and basically he provides some really poor customer service, putting employees on long wait times and not answering their questions directly. And really the importance of this is, especially with the changes in healthcare, where, people are driving farther. In the past they used to just pick up and go down to the closest hospital or facility, and now they're getting online and reading reviews and driving further. And so really it's important to measure employee engagement and to make sure that these customers or patients are getting that quality service there. The next one here, I don't know if you've ever received a package like this before. Hopefully not. I know there was a gentleman on the news that instead of taking the extra step and walking behind and delivering the package to the right place, he decided to throw it over the fence, and he was caught on their security surveillance and really took some heat from the media. The next one, we waited for 30 minutes and no service. And the last one here, I apologize, it may be a little graphic here, but this employee decided to post a picture on social media. And part of that, within about an hour, it was wildfire. And people were talking about it. Within a few hours, it was taken down, but the damage was already done. And, within a couple days, they found this employee, and unfortunately, he was terminated. I always joke around, if they would have conducted an employee engagement survey, we would have known that he didn't have the proper placemats to work, so he took it into his own hands. But on a serious note, there's always chance for something like this to take place within an organization, but by measuring employee engagement and having that conversation with your employees, you can keep a pulse on what's going on within your organization, talking about some of those highlights and opportunities and addressing some of those concerns. And I always say, measuring employee engagement, you can learn a lot of information and maybe sniff out something like this or prevent something like this from taking place. Also, one thing, when I'm out there networking and meeting folks and talking about employee engagement and measuring employee engagement, one thing that comes up as an objection to measuring employee engagement is timing or resources. And so I always like to use this slide to talk about, the importance of measuring employee engagement. And that's where I want to kind of lead on to a polling question to get everybody involved here. So I'm just going to get on to the next slide. How many people measure employee engagement within your organization? Now we can do a little polling question here, and I can hopefully, Dave Mixon can step in and talk about the process of polling.
Certainly. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, the poll is now open for your voting. To vote, simply click on the appropriate response and hit Submit Answer. Thank you.
We'll give folks a few minutes to take the poll there. I would provide a little theme music in the background, but I don't think you'll want to hear me sing or hum to any Jeopardy song or anything like that today. And for the polling results here, so just looking at the polling results, about 89% indicated that they have or they do measure employee engagement, only about 8% said that they did not. And, that's very exciting to see. Whether you're using a vendor or you're doing it internally, I think the important piece is having the conversation. I always say that, measuring employee engagement is kind of like preventative care. If you go to the doctor once every 10 years, you're going to find some very interesting information. But if you go annually on that routine checkup, that's where you can learn more about, what's going on and taking more preventative actions from things escalating in or spiraling out of control. So that's great news that folks are taking that step to measure and talk about employee engagement. Let's lead on to the next slide here. Oops. Here we go. Looking in our database, and our healthcare database specifically, about 70% of employees indicated that they're not engaged. I know that's a little concerning when I work with clients, but specifically when I say engaged, these are those employees that are willing to recommend the organization. Some of those keywords that you might hear: emotionally connected to the organization, committed, also, taking on that renter versus owner mentality. So making sure to going that extra mile and going above and beyond. Now, looking at some of our research here, what we do find is employee or recognition really has a strong impact on employee engagement. And so we went into our database and we started to look for what are those common themes that impact employee engagement. You can see recognition being at the top, skipping through coworkers, all the way down to communication. So as I mentioned, recognition really a key driver, but we have an item that we use in our survey instrument. Employees here receive recognition for a job well done. And what we find is about 6 out of 10 employees agree with this statement that they are recognized, but that there is a strong correlation with overall engagement, that employees have mirrored responses on or reactions to the recognition to also our engagement items. Also, we have asked employees, to rank recognition, and we found that it typically sits at the top when we work with organizations. So now I just want to get everybody involved once again, to some live interaction here for the next poll. Do you have a formal recognition program in place within your organization?
Ladies and gentlemen, the second poll is now open for your voting. Again, to vote, simply click on the appropriate response within your slide screen and hit Submit Answer. Thank you.
And we'll give participants just a few seconds to join in on the fun today. And let's see here. About 83% indicated, or 84% indicated that they have formal recognition programs in place. 9% or 10% saying that no, they do not. And 6.8% were not quite sure if they do have a formal recognition program. So appreciate the honesty there. Now, when I'm working with clients, what I find with recognition is they often have something in place, but, what we're finding is when I meet with employees that recognition is really taking on a new form. And as I click on to the next slide here, employees are tending to want more recognition. And you might not believe that, with the generational differences. I believe, this is the first time that 5 or 6 generations are working under one roof and trying to get along. But even what was interesting in this research is that millennials wanted to be recognized on average 7 times per day. And I think that's a little aggressive, but it is what they found in their research. But what what I encourage you to do is, in working with organizations, is making sure that you're continually asking your employees, how are you being recognized? And how do you want to be recognized? And making sure that there's alignment there. And, when I work with managers, one thing I'll often use is, it's kind of a comparison is, to recognition is eating cake. Everybody has their favorite piece of cake. Mine is cherry cheesecake, probably too much information for you. But, that first bite of cake is always amazing. But as you start to eat more and more and get the same piece of cake day in and day out, you almost resent it. And it's very similar to recognition, where each person has their style and what they want or how they want to be recognized. And so it's making sure that you're asking those employees, how do you want to be recognized, and how are you currently being recognized, making sure that there's alignment there. Now, just some best practices, what we find is to have a combination of formal and informal recognition, public and private. And, oftentimes when I meet with senior leadership to discuss their results and we talk about recognition, the first thing that comes to mind is, well, we do have this formal recognition program. But when I talk to the employees and ask them about recognition and what they would like in recognition, the common theme is that verbal recognition. Nothing excites me more when I see my manager walk through the halls and they say, hey, you're doing a great job, and this is why. Or, another employee, I was doing some feedback sessions, and she said, we've increased our workload in our organization, but, my senior manager took the time to email me a nice gesture saying how I was doing a great job, and he appreciated me going above and beyond. I actually printed that out and put that in my cubicle, and there's days that I have a hard time. I look over, I see that, and it really makes me go above and beyond. So it's really is having that combination of formal but also informal, and making sure that it aligns and is realistic to the employee's expectations. But one thing that you want to make sure to include is that it is timely and it's meaningful, that it also holds that weight. So just some suggestions there. Top-down and peer-to-peer recognition. I just finished up with a healthcare organization out of South Carolina, and they improved their scores on their engagement scores by 6 percentage points. And typically we see about 2 to 3 percentage point improvement. So they really did a strong job in improving their scores. They also improved their engagement, or their recognition scores for the items by 7 percentage points. And when I went in there to talk to senior leadership and the HR director about the results, one thing that they mentioned is they, first of all, trained their employees and had that conversation about the importance of recognizing employees, specifically at management level, but also employees. But they provided thank you notes. As you can see, a nice little picture here. But all they did is provide thank you notes so that managers or employees, when they have an opportunity to recognize someone, they can pull out a pen, recognize that individual, and hand that off to the employee. And it really created a lot of positive excitement. Now, as I mentioned, it included the employees on, how are you currently being recognized, how do you want to be recognized, and took that information to really leverage positive results. So I encourage you, go back and reflect on, how are you currently being or how are employees being recognized, and how do they want to be recognized? So now I'm going to pass the mic over to Angela here. She is with Norton. They are a client with us who have been partner with us since 2010. They're based out of Louisville, and talk about an organization and leadership that is doing it right. And they've conducted employee engagement surveys and exit surveys and pulse surveys for us for a few years now. They are a winner of our 2012 Innovation Award. They won an award through O.C. Tanner on the Recognition Leadership Award in 2013. But I don't want to take too much thunder away from Angela here, so I'm actually going to pass the mic over to Angela here as I click onto the next slide.
Thanks, David. No, you're not stealing my thunder at all. I love it. I love looking back and seeing the great moves that we've made. So I'm excited to be here today to share with everyone some of the things that we have going on here at Norton Healthcare. We've got a long history here. Actually, we're celebrating 127 years of care here this year. And interestingly enough, our beginnings come from Reverend John Norton. I've got a picture here of him on the slide. Who he daily gave everything he had to support the sick in our community. And through the years, other groups have formed to come with him and other folks in the community to heal the sick and grow our community. But all in all, really what it's about is our daily purpose has not been driven far away from where we were 127 years ago. We are driven to provide health care to all those we serve in a way that responds to the needs of our community and honors our faith heritage here, because we do honor our faith heritage and of the different faiths in our community. While that passion to care for our patients and families, it's not faded in that 127 years, and it's carried through our associates that make us the healthcare provider of choice for Louisville, and it's shown through those awards that you were just talking about, David. I love it. So let me tell you a little bit about what we've got going on here at Norton Healthcare. We've kind of taken a nice path, and we, in about 2007, realized that we needed a better backbone to our recognition initiatives to increase our employee engagement. When and where to recognize was a little bit of a challenge sometimes, and it was being done differently across our organization. It wasn't consistent between one nurse being recognized for behavior in one location. Remember, we're 5 hospitals, but they might go to another hospital and be recognized for a different behavior and be recognized in a different way. We really wanted to bring that together and make it consistent, make all those recognition initiatives consistent between our 5 facilities, our numerous immediate care centers, physicians' offices, and even those non-clinical settings. We needed a single source to act kind of as a repository of all of our recognition that gives us a robust program that excited employees, motivated them to greater performance, motivated them to loyalty to our organization, and made them take ownership every day. So in 2007, we changed up our service award program to give more choices to our employees. Then we followed that up in 2008 by enhancing our retirement presentations. Soon we realized there was a need to capture daily recognition and make it fun and easy and accessible to all employees. So we added what we call N cards, kind of something cool we do here at Norton Healthcare. We kind of begin everything with our N. So we took our E cards and we changed them to N cards. Employees send these N cards to each other in appreciation of daily accomplishments, while that leader is also additionally made aware of that appreciation that's being shared. And all of that happens in the same system. So by 2011, the program was running wild, and what's even better is the new numbers that you see for 2011 there of N cards and awards we sent out. Well, now today, that's what we capture within 6 weeks here at Norton Healthcare. That's the number of touch points we have of recognition. But I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. Let me go back. So back in 2011, we still weren't satisfied. And we saw success in those initiatives that we had placed out there, but we also saw gaps. And so for us, recognition is more than just the number of years that an employee's been with Norton Healthcare, and it's more than just a single moment that's noticed by a leader or a coworker. There are so many more moments to recognize. We put our energy into recognizing associates for many things. So here I have a slide of a list of things that are just specific topic points and reasons to acknowledge or recognize employees. At Norton Healthcare, we want to acknowledge each of these moments with every associate. However, with so many opportunities to recognize, it can be a full-time job for leaders to track all of these moments. So it was important for us to simplify the process for leaders to capture these moments. To do that, we gather all of these moments in what we call In Recognition of You, a program that's housed in our internal portal. It's accessible to anyone within the organization, no matter what your role is. Now, for me, this program is a great way to measure the recognition happening within our organization, and it's actually its effectiveness. The data I gather through this tool is communicated and measured just like any other business outcome. Just like you would communicate productivity or turnover, we do the same with recognition. This recognition data, it's used in unit-level discussions with leaders and telling stories and examples of what great work looks like at Norton Healthcare. Well, and David already shared that recognition is a key driver of employee engagement, and I think all of us realize employee engagement is what drives our customer loyalty, so why wouldn't you measure that as a business outcome? So we measure recognition that way. So probably really what you want to know truly is, what do these initiatives look like? Well, here we go. I've kind of got a little slide here of images of our recognition moments. So let me tell you about them. Well, everyday behaviors, we recognize those moments through those end cards I was talking about. They can be sent from leaders to peer and leaders to their employees, peer to peer. But really, for end cards, peer to peer is the goal there. Who better to notice my actions than my peer, who's in my shoes, performs in my role? That's impressive to me. So that's really important that we get that peer-to-peer interaction going on with recognition. Recognition is something that should happen every day, even when the leader has to step away from their unit, their department, or their facility for the day. Recognition should be continuing on. Another everyday recognition is that each employee here at Norton Healthcare receives an email message from our CEO and our President and COO celebrating their birthday and their service anniversary with Norton Healthcare on the date of that event. Now, that's a big deal, and we've had a lot of employees respond positively to that. They actually turn around and they send a reply email to the CEO and the President and COO of our organization thanking them for touching base with them every year on their birthday and their service anniversary. It's really important to them. The next piece we had was living the values of the organization, and that's always aligned to anything we do within our organization. It's the leader's responsibility, though, to make sure that they're highlighting these behaviors and values as they happen. So living the values is something that has to be acknowledged immediately, on the spot is what we call it. So we have our recognition checkbooks, as we call them here at Norton Healthcare, and leaders keep these in their pockets. And at any time when they see someone living the values of our organization, they can pull out a recognition checkbook, write a note of thanks of what they saw them do, and then give them that recognition checkbook, and on that is a voucher to be used at any of our cafeterias. What a great way for your leader to recognize you immediately in that moment. And I'm telling you what, it feels really good to receive those notes of thanks and then go get a cup of coffee or a snack that energizes me a little bit more. So it's a pretty cool way to immediately spotlight the values in action. Next big deal is our innovative ideas. You'll see that as the light bulb there. This program prompts every employee within our organization to submit ideas around cost-saving initiatives, efficiencies, service improvements. Who knows better how to make improvements in our organization than those that are using the supplies, working the processes, directly caring for patients, or supporting those who are caring for those patients. I think that all of us know that healthcare is still in that crunch, so we reach out to our employees to bring us ideas that keep us meeting our outcome measures and at the same time keeping high service standards. So innovative ideas, we recognize any ideas that they bring forth. Any ideas brought forth at all is recognized in this tool. And then if it's an idea that really makes a great impact, we recognize it further beyond. The next one is our actual award program. And whenever I say we award something above and beyond, like those innovative ideas, then that's where I'll go here. Here at Norton Healthcare, we ask our associates to care for our patients like they would their own family. And so many of our folks take that to heart, so much so they go above and beyond, or they find those ways to improve. As a matter of fact, it's really great. A nurse manager here at Norton Healthcare recently awarded an award for an employee that went above and beyond. This nurse worked in the transitional care unit, and she was awarded what we call a gold award here. She helped ease the stress of all the patients and this patient and their whole family, because they were growing really frustrated. There were some complex medical issues going on. They just couldn't understand what was happening. This nurse took time to sit down and took over an hour just to talk through with them whatever questions they had about these medical issues. That patient and their family came to the nurse manager and said, she changed everything. She helped calm us down, helped us to understand our care, so we now know what we're doing, and we're going to be able to provide better care to our mom now. Wow. That's above and beyond to ensure that we have great outcomes with our patients. We definitely need to award that a gold award here in our organization, and that leader took the initiative and did that. What's great is that the employee followed up on that and said that simply, doing what she did, she felt that was it's just what she does. It's her way of caring for a patient. That's what she would expect from anyone else, and that's what she expects from herself. But then she also went on to say, but it was a really nice touch, and it shows that others really care what I do with patients and families here at Norton Healthcare. And she felt inspired to continue that on. We love our award program. We have silver, gold, platinum, and diamond awards that we can give to employees as they go above and beyond. And what's great is we use those moments to present awards in front of their peers, which says, hey, this is the behavior we're looking for on a daily basis. Go out there and do it. We want to award you for it, and we're looking for it. Bringing attention to those great things our associates do, we call that our recognition culture. Well, the next piece we have is wellness. And wellness for us is walking the walk. We're healthcare. We need to live by the standards we're asking our patients, because honestly, we know that employees are patients too. The difference is that we award our employees points when they take actions towards their healthy living style. Development here at Norton Healthcare is essential. Learning new skills necessary to do the job, that's what it takes to go well above and beyond. So we offer opportunities to return to school to further their careers and improve their skills on the job. They can learn how to handle difficult patients. They even can learn skills how to manage their own personal finances, learn a second language. When development happens, we like to celebrate that with our employees. So anytime a course is complete or they've gone through a program, we celebrate, of course, and it's recorded in recognition of you. Of course, we never miss an opportunity to recognize new employees too, because that's development. We're developing employees as we welcome them to our team. The welcome extends not only from day one with a wonderful interactive day one training, but then it extends through 12 months. We have 30, 60, 90-day touches with the leaders. We have 12 months of check-in emails to those new employees so that they know all of the parts and pieces that are available to them, to excel in their education, to become, to get a healthier lifestyle. I got lost. So also, when we ask them to check in on their first day, we also start asking them, we know you know great people, so we want to award you if any of those great people you refer become hired here at Norton Healthcare. So hiring is really important to Norton Healthcare. We know that they know the great people. So we award employees when they refer friends that accept positions with us. So that's another piece. The next big deal is employee loyalty, which often people say is service year anniversaries. This year, we have over 150 employees that will be celebrating 35, 45, and 50 years of service with Norton Healthcare. As a matter of fact, next year, we have an employee that will be celebrating 55 years with Norton Healthcare. Now, my favorite story of employee loyalty is of an employee that's been here for over 35 years. He began as a transporter escorting patients, and he's moved throughout our organization. Today, that employee leads our organization as our CEO. He did hold many positions within the organization through those 35 years, but has always remained with Norton Healthcare. You know, that's pretty cool. We've got a lot of employees like that have moved through our organization but have remained within because they just say, this is where we want to be. We know that you honor the time that we've been here, and I love the people I work with as well. Pretty cool. So to cap off our robust program of all of these recognition initiatives tied together that drive into In Recognition of You, we also invite patients, families, and guests to participate in recognition. We listen to their stories, and many of those stories are similar to what I already shared of the nurse that sat down with the family. You know, hearing those recognition moments from the family members, those are really above and beyond moments that are driving more customer loyalty, driving more patients to us. Patients and guests are just amazed with the stories and the kindness that we share out to the community as well. We've not really had a good avenue to share those stories, so we're continuing to build that program larger and larger. And the turnout from the community has been overwhelming. They love to tell the stories. Through our Employee Appreciation Week last year, we simply put it out on social media, hey, we're celebrating our employees this year or this week. Would you like to celebrate with us? The stories that came through were amazing. Hundreds and hundreds of stories just in one day that came through. And we capture all of that recognition within In Recognition of You, just as that leader did. She took that patient's story, she put it in an award, presented it to that employee, and it's now documented, and that data is captured in Recognition of You. Now, this robust program has impacted patient engagement and our outcome measures. Now, internal to Norton Healthcare, we have analyzed leaders here that frequently use our recognition program, and I've kind of captured that data within In Recognition of You and looked at those numbers, took those numbers of high utilizers and compared it to other indexes, such as HCAP scores, patient satisfaction scores. And what's interesting is we found that not only did leadership indexes go up with increased usage of In Recognition of You, but these areas also have lower turnover, better HCAP scores and patient satisfaction scores, and a lot more positive comments on their unit or their facility. That's impressive. So we have a pretty robust program here. And I wish that I could say that it was me or my team that I work with that can take all the credit for this excellent recognition program we have, but it's not. It's not only the leaders or folks like myself that make this program so effective. It's actually the employees themselves. Here at Norton Healthcare, we have over 12,000 employees. And our program is only effective and really works for us here at Norton Healthcare because it was built on feedback from those employees. Kind of as David mentioned, you know, the program needs to be specific to each employee, and it needs to be varied for the employees. And we've done that here through their ideas and their suggestions and improvements. And we ask them to never stop voicing their ideas. They have many avenues to share feedback through the engagement survey, through employee feedback, and we actually have employee feedback committees where we just bring them in and say, hey, here's an initiative going on. Tell us what you think about it. And, of course, we've done that with our In Recognition of You program. We ask them to speak up for ways to create initiatives, improvements. But within Recognition of You, we regularly send out surveys to make sure that this program is being, effective. And while O.C. Tanner's clients have an overall satisfaction rating of 69%, here at Norton Healthcare, we have anywhere between 81 to 88% satisfaction with our program among our employees here at Norton Healthcare. And I really think it's because the best programs are built on teamwork between leaders, coordinators like myself, but most importantly, those employees. Employee feedback makes the difference between a good recognition program and a highly effective recognition program. So I hope I shared some initiatives that will inspire you today. Felicia, I'd like to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Angela and Dave. That was an inspiring presentation. We're going to move into our Q&A session right now. Again, if you'd like to ask a question, please type it in the Q&A section on the lower left corner where it says Q&A. We have some wonderful questions that have popped in from the audience. Dave, how do we recognize employees on a budget?
Yes, that's a great question, and one that often comes up. It's really about developing, avenues for employees to communicate and highlight some of those employees who have went above and beyond. As I mentioned previously, I just finished with a client, and all they did, and obviously, as Angela said, the employees have to use the vehicles to recognize the employees, but for that last client that I just finished up with, they actually just provided note cards. So, an opportunity to, and what the client said is by providing all the managers with the note cards, what it provided is what we consider in social psychology is social triggers, so that when managers were sitting there and they looked over and they saw these cards sitting on their desk, they would pick one up and actually write down a statement and send it out to their employees. So it's just the small things that can really, drive the perception that employees are receiving recognition. So maybe a small note card or just note cards throughout the organization for employees to provide recognition.
Excellent. Thank you. We have another question from our audience. How do we recognize performers who are doing well without alienating or making other employees feel resentful? Dave, that may be for you.
All right. Yeah, that's the biggest concern when we work with managers is, I want to make sure that I recognize employees, but I want to make sure that, I'm not demotivating other employees. And so really the concern with a lot of managers, and there's a lot of supporting research on there, is fairness, making sure everybody's recognized. And, what I always encourage, and what I find managers that are really good at recognizing employees is spreading the wealth and making sure that one work group or one individual is not being recognized all the time. And it's, managers who are really good at doing that are try to find a moment where that employee exceeded and pull them off to the side and provide that recognition. So, it's very important to make sure that you are distributing the recognition fairly, I should say, and making sure, whether you're doing it privately or doing it in front of the group, if the same person gets the recognition over and over, it'll actually do the opposite effect and demotivate. So,
thank you. Angela, we have lots of questions for you that have come in from our participant audience. Let me ask you, hopefully an easy question. Do you post the recognitions in public areas or break areas?
Absolutely, we do. The more you publicize that, the more you're spreading, hey, here's what we're looking for. These are the great things happening. Absolutely. So leaders will make public presentations if it's the right recognition for that employee, of course. Some employees like it private. But then they'll put that moment or that story or the behavior and the business impact. They'll put something up maybe in a break room, put it in a newsletter, in an email communication they might have. They'll communicate it in many ways to make sure it gets out to all employees. So they know, hey, here's what we're looking for. These are great things happening. Let's keep them going.
Terrific. We have a question about metrics and goals. Angela, are there goals set monthly, quarterly, yearly for the different rewards? This participant has a program but thinks it's under-promoted and wants to know in what ways does the Norton Healthcare program, is it promoted to all levels of your system, and how did you obtain buy-in and how do you maintain it? That's a lot of questions.
A lot of questions in one. We really want to make sure that every employee, is touched with recognition in this program. That's really a big deal. I look to, drive utilization to, have peer-to-peer interaction and leader-to-employee interaction going amongst everyone. So whenever we look at our utilization, we really look at, we don't look at only the number of touches that have happened within the program, but making sure, that for every one individual, have they all been touched? How many employees have utilized this program or have received from this program? That's really important to us. And I ultimately, I would love to see, people, receiving that recognition on a weekly basis. But right now, from a quarterly perspective, or in a yearly perspective, that is, I look for every single employee to have something in this program 1 to 5 times in a year. And it's pretty easy to do, actually, whenever you see that the program is so varied, to get everyone equally in that program. When you have a varied program like that, you make sure that it ensures that everyone gets a recognition moment. For the question on buy-in from leadership, I think you just need to go back to what's that key driver of engagement. It is recognition, and we know that engagement leads to more, great customer experiences. Great customer experiences lead to customer loyalty, and customer loyalty ultimately leads to ROI. So why would you not focus in on and harness your efforts into recognition? And that's where our leadership came from. As a matter of fact, our leadership understood that and came to us and said, "Hey, we need to build this up. We need to bolster this." We have a great leadership team here at Norton Healthcare, and they realized that and learned that engagement. You want to drive engagement. Use recognition to drive that.
Very, very helpful. We have another question, Angela. What if peers recognize the same employee over and over because she is truly engaged and does a lot? Our programs, whenever we're talking about behaviors, I don't think we can stop recognizing a good behavior. We should not stop recognizing a great behavior, a behavior that, or an action taken. I don't think we have to stop recognizing that just because I recognize that person before for that action. That action's having a business impact. I don't see us stopping that. And for our peer-to-peer recognition, there's no limit of usage there. We want our peers to constantly encourage one another. But we also encourage them to recognize outside of their area, outside of maybe their shift or their unit or their department. We want them to recognize others within the organization. And so we do have initiatives that kind of encourage them to, hey, send as many different in cards to as many different employees to the organization as you can. We're going to have a fun little competition on that, So we do encourage them to recognize many people, but I don't feel negatively against recognizing that employee for a great behavior that keeps happening, especially if it's having a positive business impact. We have an audience member who'd love to learn more about how Norton Healthcare uses your checkbook system when you have clinics that could be up to 40 miles away from the main hospital. And I know, Angela, you mentioned you have 5 hospitals, so maybe you could share a little insight about the checkbook system.
Sure. The checkbooks, absolutely, they are redeemable at our cafeterias, which are located at our 5 facilities. So, yeah, there is a little struggle right there for those leaders who are maybe in those outer edges that don't maybe have their folks come into a facility. So what we've done is we've worked with what we call our in-store, because there we go, using that in again. That's our promotional wear folks. And we have kind of coordinated with them that those certificates can be utilized to purchase promotional wear, cups, hats, shirts, and as such.
Okay, terrific. We have a couple questions. I'm going to sort of combine them. Did you ever get any pushback from leadership on these initiatives? You spoke to the vision from the top down at Norton, but there's the question on pushback from leadership, and if your leadership doesn't buy into engagement, what metrics will help them get on board with an engagement initiative, and what can be tracked aside from the number of end cards given?
Well, with pushback, I think there's always pushback whenever you make a change in anything. I think the pushback is more the unknown. Is this going to work? Is this going to be effective? I think the biggest thing for leaders to get buy-in from leaders, in my opinion, is you have to make it easily accessible, easy to input, just very functional for them. You have to make it as easy as possible and as accessible as possible, and we've done those things. And that really helps with leader buy-in. You know, I realize day to day our leaders are very busy, so trying to make this program as easily utilized as possible we can. And we've actually utilized a lot of leader feedback to make improvements in our program, to make turnaround on presentations faster, because that was one of the things they wanted. They recently asked for was, let's find a way to make these presentations even faster. And we made it happen. We definitely made it happen. We had to do a lot of work with technical folks, but we made it happen. So what was the rest of that question? I forgot.
Oh, just metrics. What else can be measured in addition to the number of end cards given out?
Well, always. You know, it sounds like most of you all out there are surveying for engagement results. Obviously, looking at that question, you know, my leader recognizes me. I feel rewarded for the actions I take. You know, definitely using that and showing, you know, improvement through recognition.
Great. Thank you. I know we're rapid fire asking you lots of questions. Do you have some strategies, Angela, to increase peer-to-peer recognition? One of our audience members has programs, but she wants to learn more about how to increase the usage for peer-to-peer recognition.
I think peer-to-peer recognition utilization is driven similarly to that manager buy-in. It's got to be easy, and they've got to be able to get their hands on it quick. So we've made it accessible through our portal, which is employees can access that anywhere at any time. They can even, if they have access from home, they could even send recognition, you know, from their computer at home by logging into the internal site, into that portal. So we make it readily available to them. And then there's other ways to recognize, and there's many more ways that I did not share that are outside that In Recognition of You program that can be, you know, quick turnaround, you know, giving them a fun button or allowing employees access to thank you cards for one another, or saying, hey, here's a recognition station wall. I just want you to write up quick comments to each other that are positive and encouraging. So there's lots of things that can be done that are quick. But for me, I wanted to be able to utilize the data to show, you know, the effectiveness of recognition here within our organization. So I feel the need to drive it all as much as possible through In Recognition of You.
Excellent. And one of our audience members, Angela, would love to learn a little more about your points for your wellness program at Norton.
Well, when folks interact with our wellness initiative, say we have a healthy walk that day, when you go to that healthy walk, you sign in, you complete the walk, and we will put points into our recognition. That's In Recognition of You. We'll put points into that program for you. And so all you have to do is get involved.
Which is wonderful, making it easy, speaking to that. Here's a question. Do you have any suggestions to engage employees when morale is low due to workforce reduction or transition in organization?
I think the initiatives I've outlined here, I think when they are all done in unison, I think that really builds great morale. That my organization appreciates my everyday behaviors, my everyday actions, my above and beyond even, appreciates my loyalty here at the organization, remaining within Norton Healthcare. I think that program, all of those pieces happening in unison like that, I think that just drives, my sense of, wow, I'm valued here at this organization. So I think it's a robust program. I think there's not one quick fix for that.
And sort of building on that question, Angela, what have you personally found to be the most impactful aspect of your program?
Oh, wow.
That may be hard to answer with maybe one or two.
I have to admit, that is a hard question for me to answer. I feel like, it's really to take recognition to the level we have and to receive the response and engagement results from the employees that we have. I really think it's taken this robust program. But the most impactful thing, wow, you're really making it hard on me here. I think, honestly, I prefer the above and beyond, noticing great work, the awards, the silver, gold, platinum, and diamond awards that we give out to folks, that really specifically say, here's what I saw you do, and here's the impact it had, and wow, here's maybe the legacy that's going to have. That's amazing. We want more of that in our organization. That's remarkable. I think that's
very hard to choose.
It is, though. It really is.
Okay, terrific. I think we have time for one more question. We promised the audience we will be sharing a frequently asked questions resource for you all. So if we didn't get to your question, we will absolutely do our best to answer it with you following the end of the program. I know you spoke to this, Angela, but quickly, have you found peer-to-peer or leadership-to-employee recognition to be more impactful?
Wow. I'm going to say it again. That's a tough question. What's interesting about our program, the way it's built, is if there is a peer-to-peer recognition moment, it additionally sends a message to the leader of that moment. It says, this person recognized another for this action, and here's the nomination notes and the thank you message. That happens, that leader can then follow up with another pat on the back, or maybe make it a greater recognition moment. So which one? I think they drive each other. I really do.
They work in tandem.
They really do.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Angela. We are going to wrap up our webinar. I wanted to share the contact information for Angela, Dave, and me. Later today, you will receive an email from us requesting that you evaluate this webinar. While you are telling us about the webinar, you may also list any unanswered questions, and we will provide responses. Additionally, we will share our frequently asked questions and answer with you. Given your interest in this topic, we wanted to let you know about upcoming Signature Learning Series webinars that also may be of interest to you. If you'd like to register for an upcoming webinar or need further information, please visit us at www.aha-solutions.org. So with that, on behalf of the American Hospital Association and AHA Solutions, thank you to our presenters, Angela Jette of Norton Healthcare and Dave Miller from Avatar Solutions for their assistance in developing this webcast. And finally, a very sincere thank you to you, our participants. This is Felicia Bloom, AHA Solutions. Take care.